Hey everybody, Patrick Verino here. Thank you for joining me on another episode here. In this one is about really asking yourself the question, are your employees your most important asset? And why is that important? If you're the owner or even the manager or leader of a group of individuals, are they the most important asset? And I think if we were to ask that question to a lot of employees, most would probably chuckle, feeling as though they're not the most important asset of that organization. And a lot of reasons behind that. I would think if we look to some of the behaviors of organizations that don't create that environment, um, we can look to things like a lack of congruence. If the organization, what they say and what they do is not in alignment, then oftentimes people don't feel as though they're valued within the organization. If there isn't a sense of appreciation, right? If individuals don't feel as though they're appreciated for what they're doing, you're going to have problems. If people don't feel as though they belong, if they don't feel part of the organization, you're going to have problems where people don't feel as though there's a connection there for them. All of these things sort of build on this lack of people feeling as though they're the most important asset within an organization. And I think organizations themselves, when they say they don't have the time or they don't have the resources or the budgeting to do training or development, I think that also is a challenge because it goes against what you say is your most important asset. If I were to go within an organization, there probably are times when the organization shuts down for things like IT upgrades or machinery maintenance that needs to be done, recertifications that may need to happen that take people out of um, their normal workflow. CMEs being able to again recertify and continue to have the certifications needed to do the jobs. All of those things require people to step outside of the normal day-to-day functions of the jobs, right? We're almost offline for a little bit of time. But the reason that we're offline is that we're able to come back and at the very least continue to maintain what we're doing and hopefully improve on that. It's the same thing with development within organizations, that you take the time away from what you're doing in the belief that it will improve or allow you to continue what you're doing. I think it was Abraham Lincoln that said, if I had 6 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 4 sharpening the saw, right? Of doing the work that needs to be done, the maintenance, so that we're at our best. We all have that ability and need to be able to do that. I think within organizations, again, looking at developing your people, your teams, has to be something that you clearly say, these are our most important resources. This is our most important asset, and we need to be doing everything we can to make sure that this asset is functioning at its best. Let's say that. Now, the flip side of that is I think there's a responsibility here on the employee side too. This is not just about the company needing to invest time. I think it's also about employees needing to take an interest in their own development, right? Not relying on a company. It's sad to me to think that an employee would say, I don't have an extra hour in the week to work on development. I don't want to be involved in this project because I'm just too busy. To me, that's sad to think of this individual can't find 1 hour a week to work on themselves because somehow they think it's only to benefit the company. And a lot of times these development things, even if it's certifications or um, any type of development that you can get from an organization, in the end, it helps you more than it helps the organization. And if you don't look at it that way, if you think that somehow this is about the organization and I'm not going to give them any more time because I'm so busy with everything that I'm doing, you're missing a huge opportunity here to find ways to improve your own skill set, to make yourself more marketable, that if you decided that this organization wasn't where you wanted to be, that you proactively could look to another opportunity and your skill set had been improved because of it. I was working with or am working with an organization And along these lines, there were 10 individuals that I was asked to reach out to. And at first, the executive team wanted all 10 of these individuals just to go through the second phase of this project. And I suggested not to do that, that make it voluntary, that they don't have to go through this because I think the investment of somebody feeling they're forced to do it is not going to be as positive. So I sent out an email to all 10 of them asking them to all get back to me regarding their interest. And this just happened recently. I heard back from 8 of them. 7 of them chose to jump on board. 2 didn't respond, and 1 actually responded back and said, "I'm too busy. I've got too many other things going on right now. I don't have time for this now." And I thought, boy, how sad. Again, that this individual was looking at this as though it was something for the company, as opposed to oftentimes I think when we're in a place where um, we think we don't have time for it, oftentimes it's when we need it the most. So of all 7 of these people that are going through this, the one that said no is really probably the one that in many ways needs it the most, in terms of the development. Um, and to me, that speaks to personal responsibility, that we need to drive our own development as employees. If I'm with an organization that I don't feel as though I, I am treated the right way, or I do feel as though I'm that valued asset within the organization, I have the ability proactively to figure out where I want to go. Right? We're not chained to our desks or our environments. And I think too oftentimes we hand over the responsibility or the excuse to somebody else. Well, I can't afford to make a change right now. There are no other opportunities. That may be the case in terms of what you're doing now, but we always have control over what we're going to do. And at the very least, if you look at it that way to say, I do have control over this, but I'm choosing to stay in this situation, I think it helps us to feel as though, again, we don't feel as stressed or as resentful when we're thinking it's a choice that I'm making to be here. Not that I don't have other options. I can make other options. I'm choosing not to um, act on those other options, and I'm going to stay here in the short term. Um, just before I got on this LinkedIn Live, there was an article that I saw going around about the number of people in this one survey that have said that they've regretted making a move to another company. They've regretted this in sort of what they call the Great Reshuffle, right, or the Great Resignation, however you want to look at it. And again, I'm not surprised at that because I think oftentimes when people leave an organization, they are reactively running from the company that they're at because they don't like something that's going on there, rather than proactively running toward the company that they want to go to. And that's a subtle, but I think very big distinction here is when you reactively run from the company that you're with just to get away from it, then those challenges, those problems that you dealt with in this organization will show up sooner probably than later in the next organization you go to. The honeymoon will run off or will run over. And it's probably within the first 3 months that that's going to happen. Right. And then you're like, God, why did I do this? I didn't gain anything, and maybe it's even worse. But when we proactively run toward an opportunity, I think we go at it with eyes open. I'm not doing this because I have to leave where I am. I'm doing this because I'm choosing that this truly is going to be a better option for me. And I think we're more motivated to make it work at that point as well. So I think that's an important distinction. Anybody that's out there that may be thinking, I want to make a move, that would be the challenge that I would place to you, is that make sure that you are not reactively running from where you are. That find a way to make it so that you're proactively running toward where you're going. A huge difference. So whether you're the company talking about your greatest asset or you're the asset, there's a responsibility on both sides to make sure that we're doing the best that we can. If it's the company, invest more in your people. Take the time, just like you would to maintain a copier within an organization or maintain another piece of machinery or upgrade certain systems within it. People are the same way. Invest in them. Allow them the downtime to upgrade so that in the long run, it's better for the organization. And if you're the individual, then take responsibility for your own development. Drive your own development. Don't rely on other people to hopefully put you on the right path. Find a way to get there yourself. We all have that ability. Um, and I will often say that we may lack resources, time, money, education, whatever that might be, but we all have equal access to resourcefulness. We all have the ability to find a way if we look for it. But when we treat ourselves as victims, that we think it's somebody else's fault that I'm where I'm at, um, it's it's an unproductive road to go down because you won't find anything other than that negative environment that you're looking for. I hope you found this helpful and valuable. Again, find a way to improve that asset, whether you're the company or you're the individual as the asset. And also go out and find a way to rise above your best.